The alien fleet drifted into position with a confidence born of arrogance. Their commanders, veterans of countless conquests across the stars, barely considered Earth a challenge. In their war rooms, they spoke with certainty about Earth's defenses, outdated, underwhelming, and reliant on numbers rather than strategy. Earth, they believed, was an isolated backwater, barely worth their attention, let alone a significant threat. The alien empire's technological superiority had brought down far more advanced civilizations. To them, Earth was just another system to crush under the weight of their military might. Their intelligence reports confirmed this assumption. Outdated surveillance, years old, painted a picture of scattered human forces, barely unified and heavily reliant on conventional warfare tactics. Their fleet was smaller, less advanced. The alien commanders were sure that Earth's defenses would fold within hours, if not sooner. After all, their empire had conquered far more fortified planets. This, they believed, would be a routine operation. But behind their overconfidence, something remained hidden from their eyes. Unbeknownst to them, Earth had been quietly preparing, evolving in ways the alien commanders could never have predicted. Whispers of a highly classified unit, Earth's Thunderbolts, spread like myths among the human ranks. Yet even the few who knew of them could only speculate about their true capabilities. The Thunderbolts weren't mentioned in any military briefings, nor had they participated openly in Earth's defense drills. They operated from the shadows, their existence concealed even from Earth's allies. The alien empire's intelligence had never caught wind of this elite force. Their focus had always been on Earth's fleet numbers, outdated weaponry, and traditional strategies. They had no reason to believe Earth had the capacity to mount any serious defense. The commanders were so confident that they divided their forces across multiple Earth bases, certain they could strike simultaneously and overwhelm the humans in a single, decisive blow. Yet Earth's leadership was far from panicked. While the alien commanders prepared for a quick and brutal assault, the human leaders remained calm, almost calculating. They had received warnings of the impending invasion through their own clandestine channels. And though the scale of the alien fleet was staggering, the humans had something the aliens didn't: the Thunderbolts. This unit, trained in the art of unconventional warfare, was more than just a specialized task force. They were the best Earth had to offer, masters of cyber infiltration, electronic warfare, and psychological manipulation. There was no need for panic on Earth. The Thunderbolts had been preparing for this moment long before the alien fleet even entered their system. They knew that brute force wouldn't win the day. The alien empire thrived on overwhelming firepower and intimidation, but the Thunderbolts specialized in exploiting arrogance, turning an enemy's strength into its greatest vulnerability. It wasn't about matching the alien fleet gun for gun, it was about dismantling the very foundation of their strategy, piece by piece, until they crumbled from within. The alien commanders, oblivious to this, proceeded with their attack plans. They believed their overwhelming numbers and advanced technology would lead them to an easy victory. Earth, in their eyes, was a planet of relics, unprepared for the true horrors of intergalactic war. Their perception of human weakness was based on intelligence that had missed one crucial element. The Thunderbolts operated in complete secrecy, their existence known to only the highest echelons of Earth's military command. In their minds, Earth was nothing more than an ant to be crushed underfoot. They hadn't prepared for an enemy that would strike at the very core of their strategy, that would get inside their heads and make them question their own strength. That was where the Thunderbolts thrived. They weren't soldiers in the traditional sense. They were tacticians, experts in the art of deception and disruption. The Thunderbolts had trained for this moment, for an enemy so self-assured that they couldn't imagine a force capable of outmaneuvering them mentally, rather than militarily. Their skills went far beyond the battlefield. They were designed to tear apart enemy cohesion from the inside. The alien commanders had no clue what was about to hit them. Their vast fleet, their overwhelming firepower, would mean nothing once the Thunderbolts began their assault. This would not be a war of weapons, it would be a war of minds. The alien empire was stepping into a trap they didn't even know existed. And by the time they realized it, it would be far too late. Earth's response would be swift, precise, and devastating, not with bombs or ships, but with the collapse of the very strategies that had carried the alien commanders from victory to victory across the stars. For Earth's military, the moment of truth was approaching. They had put their faith in the Thunderbolts, not because they were their largest or most powerful unit, but because they understood the one truth the alien commanders had overlooked. In war, the most dangerous enemy is the one you never see coming. The Thunderbolts weren't just soldiers. They were Earth's ultimate weapon, hidden in plain sight. And now, they were about to make their presence known. The alien commanders believed they would crush Earth's defenses in hours. The truth was, they wouldn't even see the real battle unfolding until it was too late. Earth had been underestimated before, but this time, they had the perfect countermeasure. The Thunderbolts would ensure that Earth didn't just survive the invasion, it would thrive, turning the alien empire's arrogance into their undoing. As the alien fleet moved into position, confident in their overwhelming advantage, the Thunderbolts were already at work. The aliens believed they were initiating their offensive, but in reality, they had walked into a battlefield that was no longer under their control. The Thunderbolts had been waiting, and their infiltration had begun long before the first alien ship entered Earth's system. Using their unparalleled expertise in cyber warfare, the Thunderbolts accessed the alien fleet's communication systems, slipping into their networks without detection. It wasn't about brute hacking or obvious attacks, it was subtle, methodical, and entirely invisible. One by one, key communication channels were compromised, but not shut down. Instead, the Thunderbolts altered the flow of information. The alien commanders, still operating with confidence, believed their systems were functioning normally. They had no idea that the real-time tactical data they were receiving was false, intentionally crafted to lead them into confusion. Every order given by the alien commanders was subtly manipulated. The Thunderbolts didn't simply block communication, they redirected it, delayed it, or altered it just enough to create small inconsistencies. Ships were sent to the wrong coordinates, tactical updates arrived minutes too late, and critical fleet movements were miscommunicated. Initially, the alien commanders dismissed these disruptions as mere technical malfunctions, the kind of glitches that happened in large-scale operations. But as the errors began to compound, the first cracks in their confidence began to form. While the alien commanders tried to maintain control, the Thunderbolts ramped up their efforts. It wasn't enough to just disrupt their communications, the goal was to unravel their command structure from within. Psychological warfare became the next layer of the assault. Alien broadcasts, once reliable and steady, were now subtly altered by the Thunderbolts. False orders were planted, causing ships to execute conflicting commands. These changes were small, almost imperceptible at first, but they introduced doubt. Slowly, the aliens began to question their own chain of command. What made the Thunderbolts' attack so effective wasn't just the technical infiltration, but their understanding of psychology. They knew how to exploit the pride and arrogance of the alien commanders, using it against them. Misinformation began to circulate within the alien ranks, rumors of sabotage, of disloyalty among their own, and of phantom human fleets that were supposedly lurking just out of sensor range. The alien commanders, already frustrated by the delays and errors, started to question the loyalty of their subordinates. What had once been a unified and focused fleet was now becoming a disjointed, paranoid force. The alien commanders, desperate to maintain control, issued orders faster, more aggressively. But the more they pushed, the more the Thunderbolts exploited their haste. Every order was intercepted and altered before it reached its destination. Ships moved out of formation, supply lines were delayed, and the once coordinated assault began to splinter. The alien fleet, still unaware of the full extent of the infiltration, found themselves unable to execute even the simplest of maneuvers without encountering resistance from within. And yet, despite all of this, the alien commanders were still convinced that they were facing nothing more than technical issues. Their overconfidence blinded them to the reality that Earth's forces had turned their own technology against them. As the delays and errors mounted, the alien commander's frustration boiled over. One in particular, a high-ranking officer known for his strict control, found himself in a situation where nothing was going as planned. Every order he gave was either ignored or misinterpreted, and his subordinates began to grow restless. They, too, were caught in the Thunderbolt's web of deception, doubting whether their orders were even coming from the proper channels. This chaos allowed Earth's forces to regroup. While the alien fleet struggled with internal discord, Earth's military quietly fortified its defenses. The Thunderbolts didn't just disrupt the alien fleet, they bought Earth time. The human forces were able to reposition and prepare for a counterattack, knowing full well that the alien commanders were now too disorganized to respond effectively. The aliens had entered this battle expecting a quick and decisive victory, but instead, they were caught in a trap that they couldn't even see. What made the Thunderbolts so effective was their ability to exploit the psychological weaknesses of their enemy. They understood that fear, confusion, and mistrust could be just as powerful as any weapon. By the time the alien commanders realized that their forces were no longer functioning as a cohesive unit, it was too late. They had lost control, not because of a direct attack, but because their very ability to command had been taken from them without their knowledge. The Thunderbolts had never fired a shot, yet the alien fleet was already on the verge of collapse. The command structure, once the pride of the alien empire, was now in shambles. Orders were no longer being followed, and the alien commanders, who once believed they would crush Earth's resistance in a matter of hours, were now scrambling to understand what had gone wrong. Their confidence was eroding, their focus shifting from the battle at hand to the internal chaos that was consuming their forces. For Earth, this was just the beginning. The Thunderbolts had done more than disrupt the alien fleet, they had set the stage for Earth's victory. The alien commanders, still unaware of the true nature of the attack, would soon be facing a counterstrike they couldn't defend against. Earth's forces, having regrouped and fortified, were now preparing to strike back. But the true brilliance of the Thunderbolt's strategy was that the alien commanders still didn't know who their enemy really was. They had underestimated Earth from the beginning, and now they were paying the price. The alien fleet, once a symbol of unparalleled strength and precision, was now a crumbling shadow of its former self. Communications, the backbone of any military operation, had become completely unreliable. What had started as minor delays and odd system glitches had spiraled into outright chaos. Orders were arriving too late, contradicting each other, or simply disappearing. Ships in the fleet, once operating with flawless coordination, now found themselves blind, cut off from each other in the midst of battle. The Thunderbolts had woven a web of confusion so expertly that the alien forces couldn't tell if they were being attacked by Earth's forces or being sabotaged from within. Entire squadrons received conflicting commands, leading them to fire on each other, mistaking allies for enemies. In the heat of battle, no one questioned why these mistakes were happening. The alien commanders, each trying to salvage what they could from the situation, only made things worse. Their egos and rivalries, once manageable, had now been fully exploited by the Thunderbolts. As the fleet's operations continued to fall apart, whispers of betrayal began to spread. Some believed that one of the commanders was deliberately undermining the mission, working in secret with Earth's forces. Others began to suspect sabotage from lower ranks. Paranoia took root, further fracturing what little cohesion remained. It was exactly what the Thunderbolts had intended. An enemy at war with itself was far easier to defeat than one united in its goals. And the alien fleet, once so sure of its dominance, was falling apart from within. Amid the growing panic, the alien elite warriors, the pride of their species, began to question their commander's abilities. How could such a flawless, technologically superior fleet be reduced to this? Every decision, every order seemed to bring more disaster. Their trust in their leaders evaporated, replaced by fear and suspicion. The sense of invincibility that had carried them into battle was now a distant memory. Now, they were merely trying to survive the chaos, uncertain whether their next command would lead them to victory or annihilation. The Thunderbolts, hidden behind layers of deception, continued to fuel the fire. False reports and fabricated intelligence spread through the alien networks like a virus. Each new update painted a picture of an overwhelming human force, encircling the fleet, ready to strike at any moment. The aliens, with no reliable way to verify this information, could only assume the worst. Some commanders, driven to desperation, ordered entire divisions to reposition, believing they were avoiding a human ambush, only to collide with their own forces. In one catastrophic move, a high-ranking alien commander, overwhelmed by the pressure, issued an order that sent an entire fleet division into a deadly crossfire. The result was devastation, ships firing on each other, hundreds of elite warriors lost, and a portion of the fleet obliterated without Earth ever firing a single shot. The psychological toll was immense. For the first time, the alien commanders felt real fear, not from Earth's weapons, but from the creeping realization that they were no longer in control. They had walked into a battle they couldn't comprehend, against an enemy they couldn't see. Earth's forces, still largely silent, hadn't engaged in open warfare yet. But the Thunderbolts' manipulation made it seem as though they were everywhere, constantly outmaneuvering the alien fleet. Every failed order, every mistaken maneuver weighed heavily on the alien commanders. The once proud fleet, designed for swift and decisive action, had become a disorganized mess. Their offensive, which had been carefully planned to strike at multiple Earth bases simultaneously, was now a distant memory. The Thunderbolts had done what no traditional force could. They had dismantled the very structure of the alien command. And the alien leaders, still blind to the full scope of the infiltration, were scrambling for any semblance of control. Earth's military leadership, meanwhile, watched the unraveling from a distance. The Thunderbolts had not just disrupted the alien fleet, they had turned it into a ticking time bomb. The human forces, now regrouped and fortified, waited patiently. There was no need to rush an attack. The alien fleet was destroying itself. Earth didn't need to rely on overwhelming strength. The Thunderbolts' tactics had already done most of the work. As the alien commanders argued among themselves, trying to find someone to blame, the coordinated attack they had once envisioned lay in ruins. Their egos, their rivalries, had been expertly used against them. They couldn't see past their own arrogance, their belief that Earth was weak, and now they were paying the price. The very commanders who had laughed at Earth's resistance were now consumed with infighting and desperation. The Thunderbolts had done more than simply disrupt communications. They had shattered the alien commanders' trust in one another. Every decision made by the alien leaders only deepened the chaos. And while Earth's elite forces had not yet revealed themselves openly, their fingerprints were all over the collapse of the alien fleet. The alien fleet, still struggling to make sense of the disarray, was completely unaware of the final blow the Thunderbolts were about to deliver. The chaos sown by their earlier tactics had set the stage perfectly for the final phase of the operation. The Thunderbolts had infiltrated deeper into the alien systems than anyone could have imagined, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And now, as the alien forces were at their most vulnerable, the Thunderbolts unleashed their most aggressive attack yet. With surgical precision, the Thunderbolts shut down critical alien systems. Communication networks, already on the brink of failure, were now completely disabled. Ships were left adrift, unable to receive orders or relay information. Their navigation systems faltered, leaving entire divisions stranded without guidance. What had started as subtle disruptions now escalated into total operational collapse. The alien commanders, previously able to maintain some semblance of control, were now left blind, their fleet scattered and helpless. At this crucial moment, the Thunderbolts deployed a series of false orders across the alien fleet, further deepening the confusion. Some fleets received commands to retreat, but instead of regrouping, they were lured directly into carefully prepared ambushes by Earth's forces. Others, believing they were under attack from human forces, fired upon their own bases or fellow ships. The deception was so complete, the alien commanders couldn't distinguish friend from foe. Every move they made, every attempt to regain control, only led to more destruction. In the midst of this chaos, Earth's military leadership executed their counterattack. With the alien fleet crippled and directionless, Earth's forces moved swiftly and decisively. The Thunderbolts had ensured that the aliens were unprepared for this strike. No orders were given to counter Earth's advance. No coordinated defense was mounted. The aliens, still operating under the false assumption that they were under heavy attack from all sides, were caught completely off guard. Earth's ships, prepared and methodical, picked off alien vessels one by one. The alien fleet, once an overwhelming force, was now unable to offer even basic resistance. With their communications cut and their command structure shattered, the alien ships became easy targets. Earth's forces didn't need to engage in drawn-out battles. Every strike was clean, efficient, and devastating. The alien fleet was dismantled with a precision that left no room for recovery. Amidst this destruction, the alien commanders, once so confident in their superiority, began to realize the true extent of Earth's plan. The Thunderbolts' brilliance had been in their ability to turn the alien strengths into weaknesses. By exploiting the alien commanders' reliance on technology and their overconfidence in their fleet, the Thunderbolts had crafted a scenario where the aliens' greatest assets, communication, coordination, and numbers, had been turned against them. As the last remnants of the alien fleet struggled to regroup, the damage had already been done. The command structure was beyond repair, with many alien leaders either dead or cut off from their forces. In one final moment of clarity, the alien commanders saw the full picture. They hadn't lost because of Earth's numbers or firepower, they had been outsmarted. The Thunderbolts, hidden in the shadows, had systematically dismantled their offensive without ever engaging directly in combat. The alien strength had become their downfall, manipulated by a force they had never even considered. Now, with their fleet in ruins, the alien leaders were left to face the grim reality of their defeat. What was once a sure victory had become a catastrophic failure. The Thunderbolts' success wasn't measured in battles won, but in the complete and utter collapse of the alien offensive. The alien commanders, who had once believed Earth was a weak and inferior target, were now forced to acknowledge the genius of their unseen enemy. In the end, the Thunderbolts had achieved more than a military victory. They had changed the very nature of warfare. Earth's forces had proven that raw strength and superior technology could be undone by strategy, intelligence, and psychological mastery. The alien commanders, once proud of their unstoppable fleet, were left with nothing but the wreckage of their own arrogance. As the last of the alien ships limped away, retreating from what had been anticipated as an easy conquest, the alien commanders were left in a state of disbelief. Their grand fleet, once the pride of the Empire, had been decimated, not by overwhelming firepower, but by a force they had never truly understood. The lessons of this battle would haunt them, for they had not just been defeated, they had been outmaneuvered at every step. The confidence they'd once held in their superior technology and numbers had been shattered. Their greatest assets had become liabilities in the hands of an enemy who knew how to exploit them without even being seen. In their arrogance, the alien commanders had believed Earth's resistance would be brief and futile, relying on outdated assumptions about human capabilities. They had misjudged their opponent, thinking brute force alone would be enough to crush a planet they considered primitive. But Earth's victory didn't come from matching the aliens' firepower, it came from outthinking them, from an elite force that had remained hidden, striking at the core of their operations without ever being detected. The alien empire, once certain of its superiority, was forced to reconsider everything it thought it knew about warfare. Earth wasn't just resilient, it was adaptable, unpredictable, and capable of deploying strategies that the alien commanders couldn't even comprehend. This battle was more than just a loss, it was a revelation. No longer could they view Earth as a simple obstacle to be steamrolled by sheer force. They now understood that brute strength would never be enough against a species that had mastered the art of turning weaknesses into advantages. The Thunderbolts had been the key to this victory, yet their existence would remain a mystery to most. Their mission complete, they faded back into the shadows, leaving no trace of their involvement. Their success was not measured in medals or public recognition but in the survival of Earth itself. They had done what seemed impossible. They had stopped a massive alien fleet without ever engaging in open combat, relying on precision, deception, and psychological warfare to dismantle the enemy from within. Their work would remain classified, their identities unknown, but their impact on the future of Earth's defenses would be profound. For those few who knew the truth, the Thunderbolts had set a new precedent for warfare. No longer would battles be decided by the size of fleets or the power of weapons. The Thunderbolts had shown that intelligence and strategy, when used correctly, could turn even the most daunting enemy into a confused, disorganized force. This approach would shape how Earth prepared for future conflicts. It was a new era in warfare, one where stealth, psychological manipulation, and cyber tactics were just as important as physical might. The alien commanders, once so sure of their victory, now lived in fear of what they had faced. They had never seen the thunderbolts, never even known who or what was behind their defeat. It was this uncertainty, this unseen threat, that would linger in their minds. Earth was no longer just another planet in their path. It was now a symbol of strategic brilliance, a force that could not be understood or predicted. The alien empire would think twice before engaging with humans again, knowing that their conventional methods of war had been rendered obsolete. The final thought that lingered was not one of vengeance or retaliation, but of caution. The galaxy had underestimated Earth, and the consequences had been devastating. The Thunderbolts had proven that wars are not won by brute strength alone but by the intelligence and creativity behind the strategy. This was the true power of Earth's elite forces, a power the galaxy now feared. And so, the story ends not with a display of overwhelming firepower, but with the simple realization that the mind can be a more powerful weapon than any fleet. The alien commanders, humbled by their defeat, now understood this. The galaxy would never again look at Earth as weak. Instead, they would remember this battle as the moment when Earth, through the unseen work of the Thunderbolts, cemented its place as a force to be reckoned with. The final message is clear: arrogance in warfare is dangerous. Overconfidence can be a fatal flaw. And the true strength of a warrior is not in their weapons, but in their ability to think, to adapt, and to strike where the enemy least expects it. The galaxy will never again doubt the strength of Earth's warriors, for it's not the size of the fleet that matters, but the minds behind it.